I know what you're thinking. Number one, why are you dressed like that? Number two, why are you standing in the middle of a gymnasium? These things do not compute for Rob the Rebuilder. Or do they? I've got something very, very special for you. And I hope that you'll follow along on this. It's something we don't normally do. Hey, get on the stage. But it's gonna be super, super cool. Now, the reason I'm dressed like this and standing in a gymnasium, if you don't know already, I'm a teacher by trade. That's what I do. I mold the minds of our young people. That might be scary to some of you, but it's not scary to my principal. My awesome principal said, you know what, Rob? We've got to get these kids interested in science, but we've got to find a really, really great way to do it. We're not really doing the best job we could do by putting their nose in a book and by expecting them to put a pencil to paper and just regurgitate back to us what they learned, because they're not learning. How can we get them to learn? How can we find a special project for these students that would allow them to remember? Experiential learning, the experience. Because if you're like me, if I can get my hands on it and read about it, I'll remember it forever. That's just the way my mind works. And a lot of our kids learn that way too. So what's a project, she asked me. Tell me a project that you think you could get the kids excited about. I said, oh, you came to the right guy. Let me show you what I can get them excited about. Well, would you look at that? You know what that looks like. It looks kind of small though, doesn't it? That's a 4x8 trailer. As you know, we can't put a Scotty on a 4x8 trailer. We can't put a Shasta on a 4x8 trailer. We can't. That's too small. But what we can do is we could build a teardrop trailer. What if I got my students together, bought a bunch of materials, and we built a teardrop? But why a teardrop? Why not just do a Scotty? You're good at Scotties. You can do that quickly. Right, here's the reason. That middle bar right there, it comes out. But that's only 6 feet wide. That's the only way in, the only way out. And this is where we're going to build. So, we're building a teardrop trailer. And you're going to learn about science. There's a lot of science that you can learn about. I've already talked to the kids. They're excited. They're going to participate. They're going to learn how to build a teardrop camper. Isn't that exciting? It's exciting to me. Now, I'm going to make a material list, and our first project with our kids is we are going to build the floor. I'm going to take you through this step by step, and I hope that you love it as much as I do, because this is a big opportunity for me. Could you imagine going to your job every day and doing what you love to do? I hope you get that, because if you get to do that, you're not working. I'm going to be building this trailer. I'm not working. I'm loving life. All right, let's go get our material list together. All right, here's our teardrop parts list. This is for the floor only. We're going to need a 4x8 by 1/2 inch plywood. We're going to need 2 of those. We're used to using that. 2x4 by 8 foot 2x4s. 5 of them, we're used to using those. Something we're not really used to, we're going to use 2.5 inch Craig screws, probably about 40 of them. So we've got the Craig tool. We're going to give it a shot. A lot of people use them. 1.5 inch screws, we're just going to need 50 of them, just regular screws, not Craig screws. And then a 2.5 inch, 5/16 inch carriage bolts with the nuts and lock washers. They come in a box of 25, so that's what we get. We probably won't use that many. And a 4x8 by 1 inch foam insulation. 1 of those. We use that all the time as well. And some glue. You know we use glue. So you can just take a picture of that, or you can write it down. And that's your teardrop parts list for your floor. In about 10 minutes, This gym is going to be full of kids doing whatever it is they do in the gym, and my class will be in here building our teardrop. Now, the first thing that we're going to do, and I'm just front loading this for you because I'm going to show you what we're going to do. The kids are going to come in and do it, so you'll see us doing it. But I just want you to know there's no need for these. We're taking them off. We're going to take that bolt off so that our plywood lays flat. So all of these, and what is there, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 8 of those that need to come off. And we'll probably drop our lights down just so that we don't break them. And we'll probably remove these hinges. They're going to be in the way. So we're also going to take these tires, these wheels and tires off. We're going to set it on the jack stand. And then we're going to be ready to work. So as soon as this bumper plays, you're going to see kids doing work. All right, we're starting to get the bolts and the side panels cleaned up and cleared up. 2 of our 3 builders working on it. We got that one off. We still have to get this one, got that back one. So we're going to keep at it, and we'll be back once we do something cool. All right, we got the wheels off. Putting the lug nuts back on so we don't lose them. Getting closer. So bring it all the way down and touch on the board. Pull it tight. And 94 1/2 right there. Mark that.
Right here?
Yeah, mark it 94 1/2. You can pull this off if you want, like that. And then just mark 94 1/2. All right, perfect. Go ahead and put that up. And then we'll take the board over to the miter saw. I'll give you it. Okay, so we got the 90 degrees right here. Just here tight. Good stuff. All right, so you just pull this down without touching the blackboard. See where you're at. Build up a little bit. So we're going to move this on the tab. Okay, try it again. Pull it down. That's it right there. Okay, so we're square. Okay, pull it up. Now, keep your hand. You're fine right there. Give it a good squeeze. Now, we're going to push this little flip right there. Squeeze that flip over and then squeeze the button. Yep, squeeze the button. Now, slowly. You guys just slowly bring it down. Perfect. Now let's take it over. Let's take it over and I want to be on this edge and that edge. Bring it all the way up to that edge. Then bring it over out to this edge right here. Yeah. With this 1/2 inch, this 3/4 mark. Are you on that 3/4 mark? Come out. Check them both again. There, all back. You good? All right. I think we're perfect right there. All right. Move this out. Good. Now we just push this button like that. Move away. Take the glasses. Joey, you help us out here again? Okay. Now we want to get this as close as we can. You push here. This hand. Grip it right like that. Okay. Now don't push the black part. Come down. Or you have. Okay, we got to come this way a little bit, right? Yes, sir. Go right.
Silent.
I think that's great.
I've got to have you watch them.
Got it in there tight. Okay, don't touch that black part. Lift it up. Now there's a flipper. Push the flipper and squeeze the black button. And then slowly bring it down, slowly bring it up. Yeah, hit the flipper, squeeze the button. Perfect. Go measure it. Go measure it. Make sure it fits. Somebody on that end, somebody on this end.
Let's make sure we're lined up right here too. Push it in there. Go. Okay. How are your lines? Are we on our line here? And on our line on the outside? Right here and right here. All right, we're good.
He said he gonna move your shit. I'm just saying.
Stop pushing. Fire it up. All the way. Okay. Slow. Nice and easy. Out push. Keep going. Keep going. Now keep it running. Keep it running. Keep it running. Pull it out while it's running. Pull it. Let go. Let go. There you go. Good. Good. Let's get another one right here. Down there where it's easy. Come on down. There you go. Ready? There you go.
Well, as you can tell, when we're in here, it is busy in here and it's loud in here. So I came in after the students went home and I just wanted to show you a better idea of what we were doing now that you can hear me. Now this trailer is a 4x8 and it sits on here exactly. It's not set up right now, but you know, it's 4x8 and this sheet of plywood that we put on it is a 4x8. So it's gonna sit on top of here. But what I did and why I'm not screwing anything down yet is that this is the bottom that's facing up. So what I did was I put that bottom down. I got underneath the trailer and I traced around every every beam, every support. There's two there in the middle over the axle that would be right here. And let me see, maybe I can even lift this up a little bit. So you can see, and we showed you earlier, so like there, right here you can see it. So I did that. I'm gonna get a little close up right there. So I just took a pencil, I traced it out, and then there'll even be some, you can't hardly see it, but I even did where the bolts are gonna go. So what I'm gonna do is, I am going to build out this frame. And I'm going to keep it up right now so that I can take, for instance, this one and put it right on top of there. I know I did right, but I'm not gonna screw it into the plywood first, yet. Because, let me show you what I did. Now, we've got 1/2-inch plywood that's gonna be the walls. So that has to go right on top of this. So I made a mark 1/2 inch in here and I did that all the way down there. Then we're gonna do, now this is gonna be different than most people do it. And you're gonna like it, I hope. I went 3/4 inch in from the back. And I did that on all 4 corners so that this frame will now accept a 1/2 inch piece of plywood coming up here. So that's gonna be the wall. And then on the back, if you've ever watched us build a Scotty, you'll know why I left that 3/4 there. But we'll get to that, but that's not important right now, except to say that I left 3/4 of an inch on the front and on the back. Here's the front. You can see it's gonna be 3/4 of an inch, and there's a 1/2 inch on each side for the plywood walls. So my measurements are going to be, instead of an 8-foot 2x4, which is what I bought, I've got to take 1.5 inches. So that's 3/4 of the front, 3/4 of the back. So instead of 96, I've got 94 1/2. These 94 1/2 inches. So I've got that on each side. So we know that our plywood is 48 inches wide. But remember, we took a 1/2 inch off of each side. That makes it 47. But these 2x4s, I know I'm going fast, I just want to get it in for you, but it's 3.5. So 3.5 plus 3.5 is 7 inches. So
I've only got 47 inches minus 7 inches. No, woo, I'm getting carried away right now. 48 minus 1 is 47, minus 7 is 40. I was right the first time. So these are 40 inches wide or long. Now it's going to drop down centered on that. Perfect fit. And they're all 40 inches because we made it square. All 40 inches right there. That one's, there it goes, perfect. So that's what it's going to look like. If you look here, that's going to mimic the trailer frame. So I'm going to pull, well, once I get the kids back in here, the students back in here, we're going to Craig jig these all in. I did this outside part just to get it set. When the students get in here, we're going to Craig jig all of them in. Then we'll pull this frame off as one, set it up against the gym wall. We'll take this plywood, flip it back over, make sure it's lined up the way I traced it. And then we'll take this piece, put it back on top, mark out our 3/4 and our 1/2, and our 3/4. And then we're going to run a couple of screws in it, but then we're going to take our carriage bolts and we're going to go through the 2x4, through the 1/2 inch ply, and through the 3/16 inch on the trailer, and that's going to hold that down. That's what we're going to work on next. I wanted to let you know what we're going because it's just hard to talk in here when there's so many students trying to have fun and we're trying to work. But that's how life goes. We're not at world headquarters anymore.